GitHub Copilot is an amazing tool that we don't need more explanations about that. But in last year and on the beginning of this, GitHub Copilot have a lot of new features, a lot of updates and modernizations in the workflow, in the process. And well, I already talking about GitHub for some time. Last year I have a lot of videos here. I have my training in Brazilian Portuguese on LinkedIn. But I think that this year I need to start here on my channel a new GitHub training. Hi everyone, my name is Julio Arruda and today I will talk a little bit more about GitHub Copilot, okay? As I mentioned on the beginning of this video, I'd like to start here a new series on my channel for this year. In last year I already talked a lot about GitHub Copilot. I created a GitHub Copilot training inside LinkedIn Learning. If you speak in Brazilian Portuguese, I think that you can understand a little bit more about this in LinkedIn Learning, because I created a training called GitHub Copilot First Steps, I guess. I don't remember exactly the name. I can check and put here in the video description, but it's a big complete training on GitHub, but in Brazilian Portuguese. If you speak in Portuguese, can be supported, but that's not the focus. The focus is I will start today in this video a new series here in the channel about the GitHub Copilot training, because as I already mentioned, we have a lot of updates, a lot of new features, and some people was asking to me, "Oh, Julio, can you start a new series explaining everything about GitHub Copilot?" And yeah, I will do this. I'm starting now this new series about this, okay? But before we start to talk more about GitHub Copilot, let me asking you to click on the bell on this video. Click here down on the bell to receive the notifications. If you are not subscribed yet, click on subscription button, like this video, and put the comments here to tell me if you're already using GitHub Copilot, if you are new on this, or if you have some thoughts about the security, some concerns, some tips, or suggestions for new videos, for what you think that we can add here to improve this training or this year, okay? So if you never seen before GitHub Copilot, I think that's important to starting to talking about this. It's a quick overview about GitHub Copilot, right? Basically, what is GitHub Copilot? So GitHub Copilot is something like Copilot, obviously, but one assistant for developers, a smart assistant for code developers to write code better. When we had the boom of ChatGPT, the GitHub launched the first version of GitHub Copilot, and it was very interesting too, because in this specific moment GitHub Copilot launched the code completion feature. When if I'm writing my source code on my IDE, the GitHub Copilot understood what I'm doing and suggests me completion code. For example, if I'm writing a if and else code or a switch case or something else, the GitHub Copilot was able to understanding what I'm doing, have a context of my changing or thoughts about the GitHub Copilot training, because GitHub Copilot on this moment and today, of course, have a specific model based on GPT or other LLM models, but trained of tons of data about source code from GitHub and other databases, okay? And the models trained by GitHub have a good knowledge about the source code to support us on the code completion. It's a first feature from GitHub Copilot that live at today. We still have this feature, and I love them because it's supporting me to write some code, because I work in a different programming languages like a C#, like Python or others when I need. And I don't remember exactly how can I write some parts of the source code, and GitHub Copilot in general understood me and support you to complete this, suggest some improvements when I write in this, or If I'm doing repetitive tasks, the GitHub Copilot understood the point and suggests me the completion. For example, if I'm creating a list with countries, GitHub Copilot understood what I'm doing, suggests the completion part of this and something other stuff here. Okay, this is the first part of GitHub Copilot. As I mentioned, I love it. I love today. But following the months, GitHub launched a new improvement on GitHub Copilot called GitHub Copilot Chat. And what is this? Basically, it's a chatbot inside your IDE, inside your VS Code, your other IDEs, where you can talk in a natural language. Okay, for example, a GitHub Copilot, I need to create some code here to validate an email with a regex code, for example, and GitHub answers me, oh, okay, to do that you need to follow this step, and here is the code block for you, and you need to copy paste in your source code file. It's a very, very cool feature because I have the possibility to talk with my GitHub Copilot, with my artificial intelligence or my assistant, to explain my thoughts about what I need to do here. Because when I'm using only the code completion, I'm able, but it's not so easier to do. But I have the possibility to explain. But here on GitHub Copilot Chat, I can do this better, explaining more, and in a different languages, for example, because I'm a Brazilian, I'm speaking Brazilian Portuguese. I'm able to talk with GitHub Copilot in Brazilian Portuguese, or English if I need, or in German if I need, or in Spanish, or in another language that GitHub Copilot supports. And it's a very, very important feature to localization and to empower the developers around the world who not speak English. Okay, it's a very, very cool feature. Moving for the next months, we have more and more features on GitHub Copilot. We have the possibility to run code reviewer, to work with GitHub Advanced Security. We have the possibility to use GitHub Copilot in our terminals and in our mobile phones to using the GitHub Copilot mobile app. But recently we had a biggest change on GitHub Copilot because GitHub launched the possibility to run with agents and MCP servers. I think that we can talk about MCP servers in another video, another specific video, because we have many things to talk about this, but it's a very cool thinking on that. If you don't know what is MCP server, my suggestion is going to the Google and looking for what is the MCP server. To be more specific, Model Context Protocol, no Minecraft server, okay? So going back here, agents. If you are using GitHub Copilot with agents, your life will change. And yeah, it's true, your life will change. Because imagine that today on GitHub Copilot Chat, I can talk. GitHub, please support me to implement this. GitHub will have provided me an explanation and will be suggest to me a code block. One or more, it's don't care for now. But with agents, the game changes. Because if you are using the agents, I can do the same request. GitHub Copilot support me to implement a login page with validation the email with regex, encrypting this email, the password with the specific key. I don't know. I'm creating something here from my mind only to support the explanation. But the point here is you can describe everything what you need, and GitHub Copilot agents will be start to implement all for you. Now with agents, the GitHub Copilot is not only suggesting you what you need to do. GitHub Copilot, it's implementing for you. GitHub Copilot now is able to create folders in your machine, to create files. Of course, you need to approve this specific request, but the GitHub Copilot agents can create a new files, not only one suggestion, but a lot of suggestions, and working in a chained tasks. For example, I create a class 1, I need to create a class B, I need to check if the class 1 support class B or the test is okay. Now I need to create the front end in a different folder, and I can install the dependencies. Now I can run the application. The agents do everything for you. You need only to know to describe what you need. You need only to describe what you need here and make more improvements, add more requests, because agents will be continuous implementing for you. I did some tests here with agents and it's mind-blowing. It's changing the developer process. So, but only the idea of this video is not showing my IDE, not showing the source code. It's talking about GitHub Copilot, and to complement my explanations, I'd like to open here the web browser in a GitHub Copilot feature, GitHub Copilot web page, to explain a little bit more things here. For example, here I have the agent explanation based in my explanation. It's a quick video showing this. You do some requests, select the agent, and GitHub Copilot starts some tasks here to create some class here and generate explanation to support you to understand what GitHub Copilot did, and you can approve or undo the changes. You are able to decide everything, okay? Another important point that was forgot to talk is about the LLM models, because today we have so many LLM models in the market, and different LLMs can be better in different tasks. You can prefer to use one, for example, to generate unit tests, or another one to generate source code properly, another one to generate explanations. Anywhere you can choose, you can have a possibility to use different model for different tasks. And now on GitHub Copilot we have the possibility to do this, because GitHub Copilot have a possibility to use Claude 3.5 or 3.7 Sonnet, Gemini 2.0 Flash, GPT-4o or 1 Preview or 3 Mini, and other models that we can be released from Azure OpenAI, from Claude, from Gemini and others. This model can be changed time by time, okay? It's possible that now you can check in your VS Code you have different models or more or less than that, okay? But the point here is now you are able to choose the best model for your tasks. If you're trying to do for your requests with Claude, but you don't like the answer, okay, of course, I can change this for Gemini, or I can change this for GPT. You are the owner of this decision, okay? It's not only anymore the GitHub Copilot deciding the model. You can decide the best model for you. Basically, it's that, and it's amazing. Here you can see the suggestion. You can accept or deny the suggestion, code reviewer, and here it's an interesting point because we have a possibility to use some extensions on GitHub Copilot. For example, I have a possibility to use extension from Azure, from Docker, from MongoDB, and if you have a company that have an interesting tool to integrate this, it's possible to create your own GitHub Copilot extension and have a power of GitHub Copilot to improve your extension. For example, today in my company we have a product called AI Impact to create some SDLC software workflows with AI, and we can integrate this too, okay? It's possible to do this better. Going here on, the other important part to talk, it's about the pricing of this. For example, we have here two kind of plans inside the GitHub Copilot. The first one is for individuals and the second one is for business plans, okay, for companies. For the individuals, it's interesting that we have three main plans here to use. Basically, we have three different tiers of pricing. The first one is the free version of GitHub Copilot. Yeah, you can use this without payments. You can only create your account on GitHub Copilot and start to use this. And of course, it's have some limitations to use in a free tier because we know GenAI is a very, very expensive task to do. For example, recently Sol Altman from OpenAI told that if you are I don't know how can I say that, but if you have a greetings for put greetings in your chat prompts, for example, OpenAI spent so many money for unnecessary things. You need only to create a specific task, clear request to generate the best prompting for you. But going back here, in free tier, we have limitations, and one limitation is that we have here a 50 agent mode or chat requests per month, 2,000 completions per month. Completion is the code completions in the IDE, as I mentioned in the beginning. And we have the access model for Claude 3.5, Sonnet, GPT-O, 4o, and other models here. The second plan is the Pro plan. In this Pro, we have more features and we need to pay. Now we need to start to pay. In this moment of the record of this video, the plan is moved from $19 to $10 per month, okay, or $100 per year if you prefer to pay once a time. And what is included here? Everything from free, obviously. And we have a little bit more. For example, we have unlimited chat mode and chats with GPT-4o, unlimited chat completions, access to code review, access to models, to Claude models and others, and 6 more premium requests using less model than free. And the next one, it's a recent plan, a newest plan, I guess, called Pro Plus, and this is a little bit more expensive with $39 per month, or in a year $390 per year if you decide to pay once. And what's included here? Access to all models including GPT 4.5 and 30 more premium requests to use latest model than free. It's a very interesting, and it's okay, it's a little expensive, but if you're a hard user of GitHub Copilot and have money to expand on this, it's a very interesting investment that you can do, okay? And now, if you are a company, if you are a business trying to use GitHub Copilot, we have here 2 different plans. The first one is the business with $19 per month, and the second one is the enterprise with $39 per month. All of them is by user, because in the company you have a lot of developers and you need to pay the license user by user, okay? In the business, we have unlimited chat models and agent models and modes and chats with GPT-4o. We have unlimited code completions, access to code review, Claude models, O1 and others. And we have 300 premium requests to use latest models. User management and user metrics, it's very interesting in the companies, and IP indemnity and data privacy, it's very important for companies too. And for the enterprise, we have the same with more, with access to all models including GPT 4.5 and others that can be GitHub Copilot launches, and 3.33 more premium requests to use latest model than business. It's interesting plans for companies and interesting plans for individual users, and we can decide the best for us, okay? And to finish this video, because I think it's a quick longer, one point that some people asking to me when I go into the companies to talk about GitHub Copilot, it's about the security, because is it safe to use GitHub Copilot? The CISOs, the security guys, the security teams, every time asking about that, because it's internal company data is shared with GitHub Copilot. It's moving on the internet to remote servers to generate some tasks, to generate some code suggestions, and every time the people ask, oh, maybe GitHub is using my data to train the model. And the answer is obviously no, but on this side, GitHub Copilot Trust Center, you can have all the answers for this. For example, here you can see all the compliance certificates GitHub have for this. You have a FAQ questions about this. We have information of data collected and some medias explaining everything, okay? If you go into the FAQ, you can see here areas about security, privacy, IP and open source and others. For example, here in IP, you can see all information that you need, okay? about if GitHub copy and paste the data from GitHub repositories, for example. And no, GitHub don't doing this. Basically, the GitHub Copilot is generating probabilistic information based in your request, based in your original source code, understanding the next step to create the best suggestion for you, like ChatGPT and others works, okay? And here have information about intellectual property and some other parts here. And if you like to understand a little bit more about this, you can read the site, or if you like to have a specific video about this, put in the comments what you think about this. If you think that we can create a specific video explaining everything on the site to create a biggest explanation about the GitHub Copilot security, put in the comments here, okay? And maybe I can create something for this, okay? So this video is a quick longer, and I think that I need to finish, but basically that is the idea for this first video of this training series, explaining you a little bit about what is the GitHub Copilot, about some features GitHub Copilot have, how much it costs, and a little bit about the security. You understand a little bit more how can you use this inside the company to answer your questions, your concerns about the security. I think that site can be support you, okay? Read this. So that's the video for today. Don't forget to comment here what you think, if you like the GitHub Copilot, if you're using, if you're first contact on GitHub Copilot for now, or if you have a suggestion for next videos of the series, put here in the comments. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, to click the bell. I see you in the next video. Bye bye.